Rebirth Era+Scum man Regrets+Favorite wife Daily+Business war. Before her death, the elder sister grabbed his hand and said, "Little brother, damn it. I'll go apologize to Ah Jing and the little girl. Don't meet her again in the afterlife." However, upon opening his eyes, he was reborn and returned to Shanqian Village in 1980. Zhao Jing hasn't jumped off the cliff with the little girl yet. Everything is still in time. This lifetime Zhao Wenmu swore to make her the happiest woman. Let the little girl become the little princess that everyone envies. And he, in this earth-shattering era, continuation of glory. Keywords of the novel. Return to 1980. Please love me again without a pop-up window, return to 1980. Please love me again. Download the complete TXT collection, return to 1980. Please love me again. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Returning to 1980, Restarting Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Returning to 1980, Restarting Life, 3rd. Wake up quickly. Why are you lying here? A cold touch came from my face, as someone was patting me. Zhao Wenmu only felt a splitting headache. He struggled to open his eyes, and what caught his eye was a dark young face. Isn't this his younger brother? Second brother? He asked tentatively. What's wrong? You're so drunk that you don't even know your second brother. Zhao Wenmu patted his head hard, feeling that his mind was no longer so dazed. He looked around carefully and found out that he was really the second brother of his youth. I haven't seen my second brother for decades. And isn't he dead? Is it a rebirth? 40 years ago, after killing Zhao Jing and her little daughter, almost everyone in the family severed ties with him. My parents refused to see me again until they died. Only the older brothers and sisters occasionally have some contact with themselves. Just the day before yesterday, the elder sister passed away due to illness. At that time, the older sister, who was already somewhat disoriented, tightly grasped her arm with her emaciated hands, her eyes fierce, as if she was about to choose someone to devour, and she spoke sternly. Little brother, I really wish I could kill you. You really deserve to die. After a while, her expression softened and her eyes regained clarity. She released her hand and said softly. Little brother, I apologize to Ah Jing and Nan on your behalf, hoping that they won't meet you again in their next life. I've been holding on to this for 40 years, don't blame me. After speaking, Sister Zhao Wenyan passed away suddenly. Zhao Wenmu knew that the elder sister did not want to establish a clear relationship with him and never communicate with him. Just the eldest sister is like a mother, she really can't bear to be alone these years. Now, the elder sister is also considered liberated. After seeing off his elder sister, Zhao Wenmu gathered his personal assets and left several properties and cash to his nephews. His company's worth of billions of shares was directly donated to charitable organizations. As a nationally renowned entrepreneur and philanthropist, Zhao Wenmu never married in his lifetime and remains alone in his old age. He has been tormenting in endless regret for 40 years, and it should be over now. Zhao Wenmu returned alone to the place where Zhao Jing jumped off the cliff while holding her daughter. After standing for a few hours, he jumped down. Sister, girl, I'm here to apologize to you all. Recalling this, Zhao Wenmu suddenly got up from the ground and grabbed his second brother Zhao Wenguang's shoulder, anxiously asking. Brother, which day? What day is today? On the 2nd day of March. Which year? Which year? In 1980. What kind of fool did you make again, kid? Zhao Wenguang is very angry. My younger brother idles around every day, excels in eating, drinking, and playing, and never does household chores. Even at the age of 20, he is not at all worry-free. After giving birth to the child, Ah Jing not only failed to restrain himself, but also became more and more excessive, drinking and gambling almost every day. At present, I don't know which fox friend this is with, but just finished drinking and ended up sleeping on the roadside. Those so-called friends are all gone now. I don't even know which year or month I've been drinking. This is too outrageous. Thinking of this, he needs to train a few more sentences. However, Zhao Wenmu never gave his second brother a chance to scold him. He started running towards the back mountain. On the second day of March 1980, Zhao Jing jumped off the cliff with her daughter in her arms on this afternoon. He remembered that morning when he found a small cloth bag by the stove. He opened it and saw that it was 630 yuan. He glanced and found that Zhao Jing was not around, so he quickly secretly picked it up. He didn't know that was Zhao Jing's only money. Zhao Jing was already thin and weak, and every good thing in the family was given to Zhao Wenmu to eat. After giving birth to a daughter, she not only has to do farm work and household chores, but also takes care of the little girl. It's both bitter and tiring, and I haven't eaten well yet, so I've been running low on milk. Therefore, it is necessary to buy some rice noodles from time to time for the little girl as supplementary food. Zhao Wenmu never helps her with her work, but occasionally scams money from her. The $6 and $3 were the only money she had secretly saved behind Zhao Wenmu's back. The little girl's rice noodles had already run out. She wanted to go to the supply and marketing agency to buy them after finishing her work in the afternoon. Zhao Wenmu picked up the money and went to drink with his friends. I also bought 2 expensive bottles of Lao Baigan directly. 1 yuan 2 per bottle. At noon, he was getting drunk when Zhao Jing came over. Little brother, let's go home. Zhao Jing gently tugged at his sleeve, her face full of caution. You go back, I have something else to do. Zhao Wenmu is very impatient. He doesn't like Zhao Jing calling him little brother in front of others. 10 years ago, Zhao Wenmu's parents found a little girl covered in blood on the edge of a provincial road. The little girl only remembers being 11 years old, but she doesn't know anything about everything else. Zhao Xuehai and Lu Sufan adopted her and named her Zhao Jing. From childhood to adulthood, Zhao Jing and Zhao Wenmu treated each other as siblings. Zhao Jing has a calm and resilient personality, while Zhao Wenmu, as the youngest boy in the family, is somewhat spoiled. It's not much to keep going like this. However, 2 years ago, Lu Sufan fell seriously ill, not only emptying her entire family, but also almost failing to survive. She was worried that she was about to die, but her youngest son's marriage had not yet been settled, and she cried every day. Because the family doesn't even have money for marriage, let alone dowry money, no one is willing to marry Zhao Wenmu. At this point, Zhao Jing proposed to marry Zhao Wenmu herself. Zhao's father and mother did not seek Zhao Wenmu's opinion, so they decided on this matter. They treated Zhao Jing as their daughter and thought that it would be good for the 2 children to take care of each other. Zhao Wenmu didn't think much at first. After the 2 got married, Zhao Wenmu graduated from high school and has been unemployed, feeling very unhappy. At this time, many people said it was Zhao Jingkefu, calling her ominous. The fact that she was lying on the roadside covered in blood was a clear evidence. More people are laughing at Zhao Wenmu. He said he married his sister. This is Luan #Luan. Young Zhao Wenmu's psychology gradually became distorted and he began to resent Zhao Jing. He gradually became lazy, drinking, gambling, and fighting every day, becoming a well-known problem youth from afar. He was even more sarcastic towards Zhao Jing. In the words of later generations, almost every day PUA Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing had a small birthmark on her left sideburns and forehead, and Zhao Wenmu said to her face that she was ugly. That birthmark is usually completely covered by hair and cannot be noticed at all. She also has a scar on her hand, which was when Zhao Wenmu was mischievous and provoked the village head's big yellow dog when he was a child, and was chased and bitten by the dog. Zhao Jing stopped the big yellow dog from being bitten in order to save him. Zhao Wenmu said that her scar is disgusting to look at. Zhao Wenmu felt that his life was not comfortable, and then he worked hard to make Zhao Jing even more uncomfortable. But he didn't even think that all the farm work was done by Zhao Jing. All household chores are also done by Zhao Jing. After giving birth to a daughter, he turned a blind eye to it. The girl cried and woke him up at night, and he blamed Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing had to be cautious and never dared to sleep deeply. Whenever the girl moved, she quickly got up. At present, Zhao Jing called him little brother, which made him very unhappy. Zhao Jing didn't leave, so she tugged at Zhao Wenmu's sleeve again. Little brother, stop drinking and go home. Yeah, third brother, go home quickly. Your sister is calling you. The alcoholic named Ergo spoke loudly with a strange tone. Emphasis was also placed on your sister. What's your dog's name? You're in charge of my affairs. Zhao Wenmu put down his chopsticks, slammed the table hard, and shouted at the two dogs. Did I say something wrong? Your sister is calling you home. Isn't this your sister? The second dog is still arching the fire. I asterisk your mother. Zhao Wenmu exploded at once. He was most annoyed when others said Zhao Jing was his sister. This is his most sensitive area, it's easy to explode at any moment, try it out 100 times. Ergo clearly knows this too. He just wanted to provoke Zhao Wenmu. Even a second-rate person like Zhao Wenmu could have a gentle and beautiful wife like Zhao Jing, which made him very unhappy. Zhao Wenmu rolled up his sleeves and was about to fight second dog. Zhao Jing stood on the side, worried that Zhao Wenmu might be injured, and quickly stepped forward to grab his hand. However, Zhao Wenmu was young and full of vigor. At this time, it was best to save face and wish he had nothing to do with Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing's pull on him even stirred up his rebellious heart. He shook his hand hard and tried to pull it out of Zhao Jing's hand, but he didn't control his strength and directly threw his backhand on Zhao Jing's face. Zhao Jing's thin and fair face suddenly turned red. Zhao Wenmu also didn't react for a moment. Although he was confused, he had never hit Zhao Jing before and just wanted to pull out his hand. Both of them were momentarily stunned. Zhao Wenmu wanted to ask if Zhao Jing was okay. However, in front of a group of fox friends and dog friends, the words spoken ultimately turned into, I told you to go back by yourself. What are you still doing here? Zhao Jing covered her face and ran away. Zhao Wenmu continued to sit down and drink, taking each sip. The slight guilt towards Zhao Jing quickly dissipated in my heart. By the time he left drunk, the group of fox friends had long disappeared. The 80 cents spent on food and drinks were also paid by him in the end. Afterwards, he collapsed drunk on the roadside. In his past life, he woke up and went to another group of people, then lost all the remaining money. When he returned home, he found that Zhao Jing was not there and didn't pay attention. Until the next day, the cold and broken bodies of Zhao Jing and the little girl were discovered by hunters entering the mountain. He only discovered the note left by Zhao Jing on the table. It turned out that after Zhao Jing came home crying, the little girl soon began to cry, and she remembered that there was no rice noodles left. When I wanted to buy rice noodles, I couldn't find the $6.30. Thinking of the wine that Zhao Wenmu and his companions drank, she immediately understood. The money that Zhao Wenmu scammed from her will eventually fall into the stomachs or pockets of those fox friends. She has always been very clear about this, but my younger brother has never been able to see it clearly. She touched her swollen and red face, thinking about the undisguised disgust her younger brother had when he looked at her. Perhaps without myself and my little girl, I would be happier, wouldn't I? She left a letter for Zhao Wenmu to take care of herself, and then jumped off the cliff of the back mountain with her little girl on her back. Thinking of this, Zhao Wenmu ran faster. The road up the mountain was not smooth, and several times he tripped over a stone. A shoe has long been lost somewhere. The stone scratched the sole of the foot and the thorn cut the calf. However, he felt no pain at all at this moment. Hurry up, hurry up. He only has this one sentence in his heart. Finally, the cliff was right in front of me. There is no one on the mountain. Has Zhao Jing already jumped down with the girl? Zhao Wenmu felt like his breathing was about to stop. He never felt that every step of the way was so difficult, as if 1,000 pounds were falling on his legs. Time seems to have passed a century, or perhaps just a few breaths. He has already rushed up the cliff. Leaving his body out with all his might, there was a sharp gravel beach below the cliff that was over 10 meters deep, and no one was there. No one. There's still time, Zhao Jing hasn't jumped off the cliff yet. Although he doesn't know how to revive himself, he must treat Zhao Jing and the little girl well this time. We must make them the happiest women in the world. Thinking this way, Zhao Wenmu ran quickly towards his home. Novice, seeking encouragement, urging, waving your hands to make money, let me know that I am not playing single-player games. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Sister, I'm sorry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Sister, I'm sorry. Rushing to the doorstep, Zhao Wenmu suddenly dared not step in. In front of me is still the low and dilapidated adobe house in my memory. I really went back to 1980. Taking a deep breath, Zhao Wenmu pushed open the courtyard door and saw Zhao Jing lying on the table in the hall, writing something. She was carrying a small swaddle on her back. The little girl had already gone hungry and was currently sleeping. The thin figure now appears even thinner. Upon hearing the commotion, she turned her head and looked over, her eyes filled with despair and sorrow. Zhao Wenmu only felt a throbbing pain in his heart. Zhao Jing wrote this letter in despair and helplessness in her past life, and then jumped off a cliff with her little girl, right? How despairing was it that led this resilient and tenacious woman to a dead end with a child born less than 3 months ago? Thinking of this, he really wanted to spank himself and kill Zhao Wenmu, who had forced his wife to death in his past life. Seeing Zhao Wenmu, Zhao Jing quickly put away her pen and paper, and her expression quickly narrowed. Then a fierce look rose in her eyes. She gently put down the little girl and rushed towards Zhao Wenmu, then raised her hand and slapped him. As soon as Zhao Wenmu spoke, he was beaten back. Then she burst into tears, pounding Zhao Wenmu with her head and face as she cried. In this moment, she didn't want to die with the little girl. The little girl was her life, and no one could take her away. Why did Zhao Wenmu take away her rice noodles money? Her little girl is still starving. Thinking this way, she didn't even realize it and started getting heavier and heavier. By the time he reacted, Zhao Wenmu had already been beaten into a pig's head. He did not resist, nor did he attempt to stop, and allowed Zhao Jing to hit him and his face. Even to make it more convenient for Zhao Jing to play, he slightly lowered his body. Zhao Wenmu is nearly 1.8 meters tall and relatively sturdy. But Zhao Jing is only 1.64 meters tall, and she is extremely thin and weak. But doing farm work year-round, Zhao Jing's slender and weak hands were covered in rough cocoons, and her strength was not small. Zhao Jing was tired from the fight, so she hugged her face with both hands and continued to cry. Zhao Wenmu held her in his arms and murmured, "Sister, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." They have never actually had intimate contact before, and the time Zhao Wenmu got pregnant with the little girl was also when he got drunk and had a relationship halfway through. Afterwards, Zhao Wenmu never touched her again. Zhao Jing cried again for a while before slowly calming down. Realizing what had happened, she hurriedly broke free from Zhao Wenmu's embrace. "Little brother, are you okay?" She was really flustered now, and Zhao Wenmu's face was bruised and swollen. His calves were also scarred with scratches. Zhao Jing looked carefully and found many bloody footprints on the ground. She only then noticed that Zhao Wenmu had no shoes on one foot and blood was oozing out. She immediately crouched down to look, tears filling her eyes once again. "Little brother, what's wrong with you?" Zhao Jing's tone was filled with uncontrollable heartache. Zhao Wenmu only felt a warmth in her heart. She always kept pretending to be herself. Why was she so confused in her past life? Sister, I'm fine. Zhao Jing realized that Zhao Wenmu had been calling her sister all along. Since the two got married, Zhao Wenmu has never called her sister again, always, Zhao Jing, or, hello. She hurried to fetch Baijiu and clear water, and cleaned Zhao Wenmu's wounds on his legs and soles of his feet. Seeing the crisscrossing and bone-deep scars on Zhao Wenmu's feet, I couldn't help but shed tears one by one. Little brother, let's go to the health clinic and have a look. Zhao Wenmu is determined not to go. He knows that his family has run out of money. He spent 3 yuan and 2 yuan on those 6 yuan and 3 yuan, which should not be enough to buy rice noodles at present. Sister, it's okay, it just looks scary and doesn't hurt at all. Zhao Jing had no choice but to carefully clean his wound and then bandage him with the only bit of white cotton cloth. These cloths were originally intended to be used to make diapers for little girls. She brought the shoes she made for Zhao Wenmu and carefully put them on for him. Zhao Jing makes 1 or 2 new shoes for Zhao Wenmu every year, but she hasn't had any new shoes for several years. Thinking of this, Zhao Wenmu's eyes became moist again. At that moment, the little girl began to cry. Zhao Jing hurried to prepare rice noodles for her, and then remembered that rice noodles had gone. She stood there with a desolate expression. Zhao Wenmu immediately understood. Sister, you wait at home. I'll buy rice noodles. He stood up and walked outside. Just as he was about to step out of the door, Zhao Wenmu suddenly turned his head and rushed back to Zhao Jing's side, grabbing her hand. Sister, that 6.3 yuan is with me, I haven't spent it. I'm going to buy rice noodles. You wait for me. Zhao Jing's hands were thin, cold, and rough, but he really wanted to hold them like this and never let go. Zhao Jing lowered her head somewhat shyly, but did not pull her hand back. Little brother suddenly seems to have changed, is it because he was beaten up by himself? Zhao Wenmu let go of her hand and immediately ran towards the small shop in the neighboring village. Little brother, please slow down and be careful of any foot injuries. Behind him was Zhao Jing's anxious shout. It's great to have family members caring. The shop selling rice noodles is a branch of the Rural Supply and Marketing Cooperatives, which is located in Sanlizwang not far away. Because the operator is from Sanlizwang and the people who come to buy things are from several nearby villages, everyone is looking down but not looking up, so occasionally they can also borrow some money. A bag of 500 grams of rice noodles costs 5 yuan. In this era, 1 kilogram of meat is only 60 or 70 cents, and rice noodles can be said to be quite expensive. Milk powder is far more expensive than rice noodles. The supply and marketing cooperatives in the commune have no milk powder, which is a valuable item that urban people can afford. Indeed, milk powder is never cheap at all times. Zhao Wenmu only has 3 yuan and 1 cent in his hand. Uncle Su, I only have 3 yuan here. Do you think I can keep it on credit for now and deliver it to you tomorrow? Although Su Lao-san, who sells goods, knows that Zhao Wenmu is a well-known street wanderer, he often comes to buy things and his credit is still very good. He readily agreed. When Zhao Wenmu arrived home with rice noodles, Zhao Jing was walking around in the yard with the little girl in his arms. There is no way, the child will cry when hungry, and she can only try to distract the little girl's attention as much as possible. As I walked, I looked towards the door. She was still worried that Zhao Wenmu would use the money to buy alcohol or gamble. Rome was not built in a day, and there is still a long way to make her completely trust Zhao Wenmu. Seeing Zhao Wenmu carrying rice noodles through the door, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Zhao Jing took rice noodles and immediately scooped up several spoons to brew them. After testing the temperature, she gave them to the little girl. The little one looked around curiously with big black grape-like eyes. He was sucking hard and purring in his mouth. When the little one was full, he chuckled. A smile finally appeared on Zhao Jing's face. Although Zhao Wenmu pua Zhao Jing every day and says she's ugly, in fact Zhao Jing is quite beautiful. Although she wore 2 long village girl braids, she had a slender figure, straight legs, slender willow eyebrows, a high nose bridge, and a small and delicate nose. The chest is also just right. Her fair skin has become slightly darker due to prolonged exposure to sunlight, but it can still be considered a healthy wheat color. Among the villagers everywhere, she is definitely the most beautiful existence. Even compared to the little sister Law in the city, it is not inferior at all. Zhao Wenmu thought to himself that in his past life, he was so blind that he would say such words. The little girl has perfectly inherited her mother's strengths and will definitely be a little beauty in the future. I did not fulfill my responsibilities as a father in my past life, and I must make up for it in this life. Thinking of this, he reached out to pick up the little girl and cherish it. However, he never held a baby in his 2 lifetimes. Looking at those pink and tender little arms and legs, he had no idea how to do it, afraid of hurting the little girl. Watching him eager to try but afraid of his hands and feet, Zhao Jing gently picked up the little girl and gestured hand to hand how to hold the baby. Then hand the little girl to his arms. Embracing this soft and sticky little life, Zhao Wenmu felt his heart melting. Smelling the milk fragrance on the little girl, he felt like he was the happiest person in the world now. God treats himself very well. Give yourself this second chance. He must make Zhao Jing and the little girl live a good life. Looking at Zhao Wenmu's intoxicated and happy expression, Zhao Jing was also happy from the bottom of her heart. Since the birth of the little girl, Zhao Wenmu has never held her, and every time she sees Zhao Wenmu looking at her and the little girl with disgust in his eyes, she feels heartbroken. However, she then felt like her heart was falling into an ice cave. Why did Zhao Wenmu suddenly treat the little girl so well? He wouldn't want to sell his daughter, would he? The book title has been automatically changed. I will persist in daily monitoring and not be a eunuch, so readers can confidently invest. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Making Money for Rice Noodles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Making Money for Rice Noodles. Zhao Jing thought this way in her heart, but she didn't dare to ask. Zhao Wenmu speaks coldly to their mother and daughter every day, and now she has a slightly positive expression. She doesn't want Zhao Wenmu to come down. I secretly swore in my heart that I must take good care of the little girl. If Zhao Wenmu really dares to have a little girl's idea, she will fight against him. Zhao Wenmu didn't know that in just a few minutes, Zhao Jing had already calculated so much in her heart. I almost forgot where to bury him. He also pondered in his heart, how can he make money? It is currently the spring of 1980, and the spring breeze of reform and opening up has already blown over the southeast coast. However, this small northern city has not yet melted away. Even the household contract responsibility system will not be fully implemented until 2 years later. At present, the production team, Village, has only allocated half of the land to the members of the community for household contract production. This is still a bitter request from the village committee, and the commune held several meetings before fearlessly approving it. However, in the southern coastal areas, individual businesses have begun to rise, and bad luck is also on the historical stage. But none of these are currently suitable for oneself because current policies do not allow it. More importantly, he also has no capital. Currently, farmers still have no concept of commercial trade and market economy, and almost everyone's thinking is still stuck in the past, treating these things as beasts of war. At most, it means going to the supply and marketing cooperative to buy things and selling some eggs to the cooperative. After all, at present, even raising a few chickens and a pig requires reporting to the production team first. However, Zhao Wenmu, who has lived a lifetime, knows in his heart that commercial trade will soon sweep across the country, and businessmen and entrepreneurs will become the most active group on the historical stage in the coming decades. The isolation of economic and trade exchanges between urban and rural areas is about to be broken. The market demand already exists, it's just that most people don't understand it. Information is both money. And he has access to information. With this in mind, he already knows where to earn his first bucket of gold. Zhao Wenmu put the little girl back on the Kong, carried a large bamboo basket on his back, and went out with a small hoe for weeding. There are many bamboo baskets at home, and Zhao Wenguang, the second brother, is a carpenter who also knows how to weave bamboo baskets. The Shanqian Village where Zhao Wenmu's family is located, as the name suggests, is surrounded by continuous mountains. There is a small river in front of the village. In early spring, most shrubs and weeds have not yet sprouted, but shepherd's purse, bitter cabbage, and gray cabbage are the most tender. These things are scattered all over the mountains and fields, and the villagers also pick some to eat. But no one ever thought of taking it to the city to sell. Zhao Wenmu quickly dug up a large basket full of backpacks. When she returned home, Zhao Jing was busy in the kitchen. He took out the wild vegetables and, while it was not yet dark, cleaned up all the dry branches, leaves, and mud mixed in between the tender leaves of the wild vegetables. This is really a time-consuming and laborious task. It's much more troublesome than digging wild vegetables. Zhao Jing finished her meal and came out, while Zhao Wenmu was still busy cleaning up wild vegetables. "Little brother, why are you digging up so many wild vegetables?" she asked timidly, and Zhao Wenmu didn't like her pointing fingers at his own affairs. "Sister, I'll take these wild vegetables to the city tomorrow to sell." Zhao Jing opened her mouth, but in the end, she didn't say anything. These wild vegetables are found in every household, who would buy them? Anyway, I finally worked hard once, so let's not dampen his enthusiasm. Zhao Wenmu cleaned up the wild vegetables and soaked some dried corn bracts in them. In this era, there were no plastic bags, and corn bracts could be twisted into ropes to tie things. For dinner, there were only sweet potatoes and potatoes, as well as Zhao Jing's own pickled carrot strips. They were eating when Lu Xiumei, the sister-in-law, pushed the door and came in. She held a bowl with an egg in it and 2 yellow mantou. Yellowing is because mantou is mixed with a lot of corn, and white flour mantou can't be eaten at ordinary times. The sister-in-law put down the bowl and started scolding Zhao Wenmu by the ear. "Little brother, did you go drinking again?" She heard Zhao Wenmu's second brother Zhao Wenguang talk about the noon matter. Lu Xiumei is 8 years older than Zhao Wenmu. She is not only Zhao Wenmu's biological sister-in-law, but also his uncle's cousin. Since childhood, this cousin has been rubbing their brothers on the ground. After getting married, this sister-in-law never treated herself as an outsider. Whenever her younger uncle or sister-in-law caused trouble, she didn't hesitate to greet her. Zhao Wenmu has been afraid of his parents since he was young, but he is afraid of his sister-in-law. Zhao Jing stood up to dissuade, but was also pressed down by her. "Ah Jing, you sit and eat. Today, I'm going to teach this kid a good lesson." She was not only going to teach Zhao Wenmu a lesson, but also to watch Zhao Jing eat. She knew that anything good would eventually fall into Zhao Wenmu's belly, and this kid never knew how to cherish his wife. On this side, Lu Xiumei grabbed Zhao Wenmu's ear, which can be said to be a face-to-face gesture. Over there, Zhao Jing nibbled at her meal. She knew that Mrs. Egg must watch her eat, but she only ate a little mantou. "Sister, you have eaten all mantou." "I don't want to eat mantou." Mantou are so small that Zhao Jing can eat them. Zhao Wenmu can see that she wants to keep them for herself. Such a great day. After leaving home in her previous life, my sister-in-law passed away unexpectedly while carrying autumn peaches down the mountain that autumn. Now Zhao Jing is sitting at the table eating quietly. The little girl in the room is sleeping soundly. The sister-in-law had an angry expression on her face as she tugged at her ear and continued to chatter. Zhao Wenmu couldn't help but laugh, tears streaming down his face as he smiled. Lu Xiumei was also startled and quickly released her hand, her tone becoming gentle. Little brother, you're not too young anymore. Please be more understanding and understanding towards Ah Jing. Don't just be around all day and don't worry about your life. Let's live a good life. In the past, Zhao Wenmu had become impatient with these words and even vented his anger on Zhao Jing. This time, he listened obediently until his sister-in-law finished speaking, and only then did he respond with an expression of dissatisfaction. Sister-in-law, don't worry, I won't make any more mistakes. I promise to be good to Ah Jing in the future. Zhao Jing, who was eating with her head down, burst into tears upon hearing these words. This is the first time Zhao Wenmu called her Ah Jing. Before getting married, Zhao Wenmu called her third sister or sister. After getting married, most of the time he called her hello or Zhao Jing. Just a slightly affectionate Ah Jing broke her guard. Perhaps Zhao Wenmu has really changed. Upon hearing Zhao Wenmu's words, Lu Shumei was also very happy. She smiled and said something before leaving. Zhao Wenmu just sat down to eat again. Sister, I will be good to you and the girl in the future. In the end, Zhao Wenmu and Zhao Jing ate one of the two mantou. Zhao Jing insisted that she was full, and Zhao Wenmu no longer insisted. He secretly swore in his heart that he would make Zhao Jing live a good life. After dinner, Zhao Wenmu went to his second brother's house to borrow a scale. He is going to the city early tomorrow morning to sell vegetables, and things need to be prepared in advance. Before going to bed at night, Zhao Wenmu first boiled some water in the pot. Hot water can be used for washing, and the heated kong won't get cold at night. After all, it's still early spring now, and the night is still a bit cold. He let Zhao Jing sleep on the kong, the little girl slept between the two, and himself slept on the edge of the kong. In the past, he used to dominate the kong, never caring whether Zhao Jing was cold or not. At night, the little girl woke up crying and either pretended to sleep or remained motionless. Either wake up Zhao Jing, speak with disdain, and let her take care of the little girl. Completely disregarding Zhao Jing's busy schedule during the day. He secretly made up his mind that in the future, he must take care of the little girl at night and let Zhao Jing rest well. At night, the little girl did start crying. Before Zhao Wenmu could react, Zhao Jing had already tiptoed down to the kong. Seeing Zhao Wenmu wake up, she immediately felt a bit timid, afraid that Zhao Wenmu would lose his temper again. Looking at Zhao Jing's timid gaze, Zhao Wenmu suddenly understood. He walked up and draped Zhao Jing's clothes, making his tone as gentle as possible, and whispered. Sister, let me take care of the little girl at night in the future, so you can rest well. Teach me how to come this time. Without hesitation, he took the thermos in Zhao Jing's hand. Zhao Jing was stunned for a while before she realized it. She quietly explained to Zhao Wenmu how much rice noodles to add, how much water to put, how about the temperature, how to hold the bottle, how to hold the baby so that she wouldn't choke on milk. After doing it once, Zhao Wenmu roughly understood. Who knew that after feeding rice noodles to the little girl, they had just lain down, and the little guy began to cry again. Zhao Jing knew at a touch that the little one was peeing. The diaper got wet, and the little one felt uncomfortable and started crying. She quickly got up again to change the little girl's diaper, but to her surprise, Zhao Wenmu stopped her and asked her to guide her in doing it. After changing the diaper for the little one, Zhao Wenmu thought for a moment and asked Zhao Jing to go to bed first. I went to wash diapers myself. Zhao Jing thought he had gone out to use the restroom, but she didn't mind. Until the sound of water echoed outside. It turned out that Zhao Wenmu was washing things. She walked out and saw Zhao Wenmu washing diapers. After looking for a while, she said. Little brother, you can't wash it clean like this. You leave it there and I'll come wash it tomorrow morning. Zhao Wenmu thought for a moment and realized that he wouldn't have to fuss about it in the evening. Just learn from Zhao Jing again tomorrow. He nodded and the two of them went back to the room to sleep. As a person of two generations, Zhao Wenmu really knew for the first time that taking care of a child is so troublesome. How did Zhao Jing do so many things alone in the past? Thinking of this, he increasingly felt that his former self was a jerk. The next day, Zhao Jing woke up early in the morning. Rural people are like this. They wake up before dawn to work, let alone Zhao Jing, who does all the household work on her own. Zhao Wenmu also got up early. He first watched Zhao Jing demonstrate how to wash and hang diapers. It turns out that after washing the diaper, it needs to be boiled in boiling water to disinfect it, and it also needs to be exposed to sunlight for a while at noon. Just changing diapers in a day, Zhao Jing has to be very busy on her own. With this in mind, Zhao Wenmu made up his mind to share more of these tasks with Zhao Jing in the future. After washing the diaper, Zhao Wenmu said to Zhao Jing and carried a bamboo basket on his back and went out. The bamboo basket was filled with 30.40 kilograms of wild vegetables, and he even sprinkled a little water before going out. When you arrive in the city like this, it will look fresher. There was nothing to eat at home either. Zhao Jing stuffed him with 2 hot sweet potatoes and instructed him not to sell them, so it's okay to go home early. As long as you don't gamble, little brother. She was thinking in her heart. Readers, should there be, please leave a few more comments in this chapter to let me know that I am not alone, or indeed, I am, and coding is more motivating. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Small Trial Ox Knife. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Small Trial Ox Knife. When we arrived at Pingyang County, it was around 7:30 in the morning. The geographical location of Shanqian Village is relatively good. It only takes more than an hour to walk to Pingyang County, and it is only an hour's drive from Pingyang County to the provincial capital Quanqing City. Even so, Zhao Wenmu walked in great pain. The injuries under his feet were really serious. When he arrived in the city, the wounds cracked again, and blood seeped out of his shoes. Zhao Wenmu had to persevere. He arrived at the family area of sugar factory workers in the southeast of the county town. Pingyang County Sugar Factory has a large scale and is a key enterprise in Qilu province. The sugar factory has over 400 formal employees, but there is no mention of temporary workers. In this era, sugar factories are very efficient, with workers earning over 30 yuan, ranking among the top in the entire Pingyang County. There are at least 1,000 or 2,000 people living in the entire family area, and their purchasing power is still very good. Moreover, there is still some distance from the main urban area, and there are relatively few idle people, so the public security is relatively better. There will be no small thugs coming to disturb, and there is no need to worry about the police catching people. After all, at the beginning of the reform and opening up, people's thinking is generally conservative, and not everyone can accept the novelty of individual economy. Fortunately, the workers in the city have more knowledge, and setting up stalls here will not be taken away by enthusiastic people to the Public Security Bureau. Zhao Wenmu spread a layer of corn bracts on the ground and arranged wild vegetables in different categories. Soon, a few older ladies who were going out to buy groceries passed by here. Zhao Wenmu quickly shouted. Fresh wild vegetables. Fresh wild vegetables just picked in the morning. A big sister once lived in the countryside in her early years and missed the wild vegetables in the village the most. However, she didn't have time to go to the countryside to dig when she went to work or take care of children. Upon hearing this, she looked over. Young man, how much does this bitter vegetable cost per kilogram? 1 cent. It is early spring now, and everyone has been eating cabbage and radish all winter. They have long wanted to change their taste. However, fresh vegetables such as cucumbers, tomatoes, and eggplants will take over a month to come down. Fresh and delicious wild vegetables are indeed rare. And this price is not expensive, after all, 1 pound of cabbage costs 3 cents. Not bad, not bad. Is this dish fresh? The other elder sister was also very interested and interjected with a question. Zhao Wenmu lifted his left foot and said with a painful expression. Sister, I just went to the mountain to dig this morning. Look, my foot is injured and I haven't had time to deal with it yet. The middle-aged lady looked at the bloodstains on Zhao Wenmu's shoes and her face was very moved. It's not easy for a villager. Young man, your injury is quite serious. Hurry up and go to the hospital for a check. Up later. Just give me a pound of shepherd's purse. Zhao Wenmu weighed the shepherd's purse, tied it high with a corn bud rope, and handed it to the elder sister while saying. This shepherd's purse is the freshest. It's best to buy some dumplings with pork buns and shepherd's purse meat filling. Cold mixed shepherd's purse is also delicious. The elder sister asked him to explain in detail, and he then loudly and thoroughly explained how to handle shepherd's purse and mix ingredients and juices. He is indeed professional in this. After being kicked out of his family in his previous life, he first worked as an apprentice at a state-owned restaurant in the county for a year. He worked hard to learn culinary skills, and then left Pingyang County to venture into the provincial and capital cities alone. He started by working in catering and eventually established a commercial group that had made significant achievements in the catering, real estate, and pharmaceutical industries. Before the elder sister left for payment, more people had already gathered around. Zhao Wenmu saw this and loudly explained the way to eat bitter vegetables, emphasizing. Bitter cabbage is full of treasures, which can clear heat and reduce fire, lower the 3 highs, promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis. When catching a cold and getting hot, you can also eat more bitter cabbage. In any era, health preservation is a timeless topic. Sure enough, upon hearing these words, everyone was immediately moved. Give me a pound. Give me a pound too. Bitter vegetables quickly sold out. Gray cabbage is rich in calcium, which can promote bone growth. Children can eat some. It can also clear heat and detoxify, and help with weight loss. Children and weight loss are the real trump cards against middle-aged ladies. Upon hearing Zhao Wenmu's words, the only dozen pounds of gray cabbage were almost snatched away. All the wild vegetables sold out in just over 10 minutes, and Zhao Wenmu didn't expect the wild vegetables that could be seen everywhere in the mountains to be so popular. More people did not buy wild vegetables and repeatedly confirmed with him before leaving. Young man, are you coming back tomorrow? Sister, don't worry. I'll be here tomorrow morning at 7:30. Do you have gray cabbage? Do you have bitter vegetables? There are all of them, including bitter cabbage, gray cabbage, and shepherd's purse tomorrow. Zhao Wenmu spoke loudly to make more people hear his voice. At the same time, I was mentally calculating that I would have to dig more wild vegetables today. Being alone may not be enough. He put away the scale, finished eating sweet potatoes, picked up the basket on his back, and was about to leave with a limp. A kind-hearted, slightly obese middle-aged man stood in front of him. Young man, can you send me a batch of wild vegetables tomorrow? Upon closer inspection by Zhao Wenmu, it turned out to be Li Guofu. His eyes suddenly became slightly moist. It was Li Guofu who took him in after he was kicked out of his family in his previous life. At that time, Li Guofu was the deputy director and head chef of the state-owned hotel in Pingyang County. Well, obesity is probably the ultimate destination for every qualified chef. Li Guofu not only rejected public opinion and accepted him, but also imparted his culinary skills to him without reservation. It can be said that he is a true benefactor on Zhao Wenmu's life journey. Although Zhao Wenmu, who had developed, also provided a lot of help to the other party, the friendship of sending charcoal in the snow was ultimately different. Seeing acquaintances from his past life, Zhao Wenmu felt warm in his heart. It seems that Li Guofu is also a noble man of his own in this life. After all, the other party is now the deputy director of the state-owned hotel, and he is the final say of food procurement. Zhao Wenmu stabilized his mind and then replied calmly. No problem. What do you call me, big brother? I wonder how many wild vegetables do you want? My name is Li Guofu, and I am the deputy director of a state-owned hotel. Shepherd's purse and gray cabbage each weigh 20 kilograms, and bitter cabbage weighs 10 kilograms. The price is still 1 cent per kilogram. What do you think? When Zhao Wenmu introduced various ways of eating wild vegetables and their effects, he also listened attentively on the side. It has to be said that he was very surprised. Not to mention the taste and efficacy of wild vegetables, just his words alone make them an absolute bestseller. Can an ordinary mountain person have this kind of insight? Although 50 pounds of wild vegetables are quite a lot, they are definitely just a piece of cake for state-owned restaurants in Pingyang County. Zhao Wenmu was also very happy, so he earnestly explained more cooking methods for wild vegetables to Li Guofu and agreed on a delivery time with him. There is no rush to pick up the goods from the state-owned restaurant. He can definitely come to the family area of the sugar factory to sell them first, and then go to deliver the goods to the restaurant. Li Guofu looked at Zhao Wenmu's feet. This young man is really good, hardworking and knowledgeable. He speaks and does things in a clear and organized manner, which he really likes. He took out 5 yuan and handed it to Zhao Wenmu. Zhao, I'll advance tomorrow's vegetable money to you. Hurry up and go to the clinic to have your feet treated. This is really timely rain. Zhao Wenmu was just worried. I estimate that 1 or 2 yuan will be gone after treating this injury on my foot. The wild vegetables sold today are only over 3 yuan, and the remaining money is too little. He also plans to buy some things to go home and cook delicious food for Zhao Jing. Zhao Wenmu didn't refuse either. He took the money and said seriously to Li Guofu. Director Li, don't worry, I will definitely deliver the wild vegetables tomorrow morning. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Shepherd's Purse Dumplings, add more. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Shepherd's Purse Dumplings, add more. After seeing off Li Guofu, Zhao Wenmu went directly to the clinic. Sure enough, it cost 1.65 cents to treat the foot injury. The wild vegetables were sold for a total of 3.40 yuan, plus 5 yuan given by Li Guofu and the remaining 1 yuan from yesterday. He now has a total of 6.85 yuan. He went to the supply and marketing cooperative to buy 10 pounds of white noodles, but because there were no face tickets, the price was slightly higher, at 1.21 pound. I bought 2 pounds of lean and fat pork, which is later known as pork belly, now called 3-layer meat. 3 layers of meat are the most delicious, 75 cents per kilogram. I also bought 2 kilograms of pork lard, which is used to extract lard. After boiling the lard, the remaining oil residue can be sprinkled with some salt to make it taste delicious. Fried vegetables with oil residue are also delicious. Pig fat costs 60 cents per kilogram. Eating lean meat is not currently popular, and pure lean meat is actually cheaper. I bought 2 kilograms of white sugar again, 1 yuan per kilogram. I also spent 75 cents to buy some soy sauce, vinegar, and salt. I bought a few more candies. All of a sudden, there was only 2 yuan left in my hand, of which 2 yuan was reserved for the small shop in Sanlizwang. After all, I still owed 2 yuan for yesterday's rice noodles. Zhao Wenmu sighed in his heart that the money was still too little, but this was only the first day, and he was still very confident in making money. To revive his life, he must ensure that Zhao Jing and the little girl live a good life, and also help his family and fellow villagers become rich. He believes that his ability to be reborn must be related to the accumulation of virtues and good deeds in his past life. On the way home, the gentle breeze brushed against his face, and as he watched the small wild flowers blooming on both sides of the road, Zhao Wenmu felt extremely happy. He had not been so happy for decades. In my past life, I lived alone in this world. Although I seem to dominate the world and have boundless glory, in reality, only I am aware of the sadness in my heart. I returned the money to Sanlazwang and it will be around 10 o'clock when I return home. Zhao Jing is not at home at the moment, probably going down to work. For the newly allocated land, every villager wished to hold it in their palm and serve it, and Zhao Jing was no exception. Zhao Wenmu put his things in the kitchen, picked up his basket and hoe, and went up the mountain. The elder brother and sister.in-law have contracted a small peach orchard on the mountain. It is currently the time when the peach blossoms are in full bloom, and they are probably busy pollinating them. He plans to go find the elder brother first. After all, the amount of wild vegetables needed is a bit large, and he definitely can't dig so much alone. When I arrived at Taoyuan, I realized that not only my elder brother and sister.in-law, but also my second brother, sister.in-law, and Zhao Jing were here. The little girl and the two little radish heads of my elder brother's family, Zhao Zimeng and Zhao Ziding, were also here. Everyone is helping with pollination. After all, the flowering period is very short, and it may be windy or rainy at any time, so take advantage of the good weather and work hard. So many people can finish it in less than half a day. It is very common for relatives to help each other with farm work. Before getting close, I heard my brothers and sister.in-law discussing me, and my second brother even encouraged my sister.in-law to beat me up. Zhao Jing whispered in a gentle voice, "I'm working hard." Zhao Wenmu was covered in sweat upon hearing this, and as soon as he wanted to hide, he heard a crisp "uncle." It was Zhao Ziding who discovered her. The little girl was 4 years old, pink and very cute, making her giggle. Although Zhao Wenmu is seen as a generous street wanderer by adults, he is very popular in the eyes of his nephews and nieces. After all, only Zhao Wenmu is willing to take them to fish and shrimp, catch birds and eggs, and occasionally buy them candy to eat. Zhao Zimeng also rushed over. The adults also looked over, and Zhao Wenmu awkwardly took out a few pieces of sugar from his pocket and gave them to the two little ones, Zimeng and Ziding. Peel off the last piece of sugar again and signal Zhao Jing to open her mouth. Zhao Jing blushed and felt a bit shy in front of everyone. Zhao Wenmu insisted on raising her hand, but she had no choice but to open her mouth and eat. A hint of sweetness entered her throat, mixed with a milky aroma, and a warm current surged in Zhao Jing's heart. "Okay, little brother, you're patronizing your wife. Where are your sister.in-law?" Song Yun, the second sister.in-law, asked with a wry smile. "Second sister. In-law, if you want to eat candy, you have to find my second brother. My wife is in pain, isn't she, second brother?" "Humph, who made you encourage my sister.in-law to beat me up?" Zhao Wenmu asked Zhao Jing to rest and help pollinate, but Zhao Jingjian refused to comply. A few people finished all the work before noon. My sister.in-law wants everyone to have lunch together, which is also a tradition. In rural areas, helping with work usually doesn't cost much, but at least you have to manage the food. However, as we are all brothers, we don't care about these things. Zhao Wenmu said mysteriously that he has a business to do with his eldest and second brothers, and asked everyone to go to his own house for dinner while discussing it. Several brothers and sister.in-law were not interested in going to Zhao Wenmu's place for a meal, but when they heard Zhao Wenmu say, "There is business," they made up their minds to go and listen. "I don't really want to do business with him." But rather worried that he would act recklessly again. The second brother even exchanged a glance with his sister.in-law, meaning that you shouldn't be too lenient in taking action later. Zhao Wenmu naturally knew what the brothers and sister.in-law were thinking. It's not surprising that people don't trust themselves, after all, their past selves were too immature. Both sister.in-law knew what was going on in Zhao Wenmu's house, and they planned to go home first to get some mantu, cabbage and radish. "Sister-in-law and sister.in-law, we have noodles at home. Don't go back and get them." Zhao Wenmu couldn't help but say something and led everyone home. I also dug up some shepherd's purse on the way. A group of people marched to Zhao Wenmu's house in a grand manner. Looking at the white noodles, pork, and sugar in the kitchen, everyone was stunned. Aren't they willing to buy so much pork for the Chinese New Year? There is no imagined joy or excitement. Big brother Zhao Wenlin's face turned pale, and his tone was filled with uncontrollable anger and disappointment. Even the two little ones, Zimeng and Ziding, were frightened and hid behind him. Little brother, where did these things come from? Zhao Wenmu is idle and just scams money from Ah Jing every day. Are you still going to steal or rob now? The other siblings and sister in-law also looked calm. Although Zhao Jing also had anxiety on her face, she still held on to Zhao Wenlin, afraid that he would hit Zhao Wenmu. Big brother, don't worry yet, listen to my explanation. Listening to his wife's words, Zhao Wenmu was deeply moved. No matter how unbearable he was, Zhao Jing was willing to believe in him. However, her past self repeatedly betrayed her trust. She stole and sold the chickens she worked hard to raise, coaxed the money from selling corn into gambling, and even took the money from selling hair to buy alcohol. He is not angry at all about the lack of trust in him by everyone at this moment. He deserves it and will work hard to change everyone's impression of him. He was only overjoyed that everything was still possible, and Zhao Jing was willing to believe him. Big brother, these things are really not stolen, they were earned by me selling wild vegetables. Then Zhao Wenmu recounted in detail his experience of selling wild vegetables, even detailing the fact that Li Guofu had prepaid 5 yuan. The organization of the matter is clear, and the causes and consequences are simple and clear. After listening, everyone also believed 7 or 8 points. I called everyone here today because there are too many wild vegetables needed, and I can't dig so much alone. I want everyone to help me dig together. How about everyone dig together and sell it to me for 5 cents per kilogram? After listening to Zhao Wenmu's words, everyone basically believed that he was not lying, but the wild vegetables weighing 10 cents per kilogram still surprised everyone. Finally, the sister-in-law made the decision and spoke. Little brother, after dinner, everyone goes to dig wild vegetables, but Qian's brothers and sisters don't want them anymore. Second, tomorrow you will accompany my younger brother to sell wild vegetables and drive the family's cart. Big brother has a cart at home, and Zhao Wenmu did plan to borrow it from him. As for letting my second brother go with me, it's not only to confirm if things are really as I said, but also to help me catch the bus. After all, Zhao Wenmu, who doesn't do farm work, really doesn't know how to drive ox carts. It's good to have the second brother follow along. The second brother is lively and can also speak. Zhao Wenmu originally planned to bring him into the company. As for the money matter, don't worry. Just wait for the business to grow and then share the money with the big brother. After talking about these things, everyone started busy with lunch. Big brother goes and cuts the lard into small pieces, then starts boiling and pressing the lard. A few sister-in-law were kneading noodles and rolling out dough. Taking advantage of this time, Zhao Wenmu quickly washed the shepherd's purse, chopped the meat filling, and prepared the dumpling filling. Before long, the aroma of lard permeated the yard, and 2 little radish heads lay beside their father, staring at the oil residue in the pot without blinking, saliva almost flowing to the ground. Zhao Wenlin took out some crispy and burnt oil residue, sprinkled a little salt on it and handed it to them. The 2 of them rushed to the side holding bowls and happily started eating. Little girl Zhao Ziding didn't forget to stuff a few pieces for her mother and aunts. What a well-behaved and sensible little girl. The sister-in-law were busy making dumplings, and Zhao Wenmu took some oil residue to stir-fry a shepherd's purse with oil residue, mixed some cooking sauce, and made a cold mixed shepherd's purse. After some thought, he called Zhao Zimeng to his side. Xiao Meng, come home and bring some sesame seeds. Zhao Zimeng quickly went home to pick up some sesame seeds, and Zhao Wenmu sprinkled them. A cold mixed shepherd's purse with a perfect combination of color, aroma, and flavor is ready. Dumplings with thin skin and large filling rolled in the pot, gradually becoming swollen, like small boats sailing through the wind and waves. Just like the departure of a generation of food and beverage giants, initially silent, but eventually roaring. Dumplings are cooked in 2 batches. After the first pot is cooked, Zhao Jing first brings 2 large bowls to Zhao Shuihai and his wife. The rest of it thrives on the grates made of sorghum stalks, which are called gai wan in dialect. They are large and have grooves, making them particularly suitable for serving dumplings. The old couple were still angry with Zhao Wenmu because of the separation. Zhao Wenmu recalled this matter and thought it would be better to wait a while before visiting them. Eat the 2 small ones first. The adults then proceeded to cook another pot and waited until it was cooked before eating together. Delicious. It's really delicious. More delicious than dumplings made during the Chinese New Year. Zhao Zimeng's mouth was full and he didn't forget to praise loudly. This is nature. The freshest and tender shepherd's purse in early spring, with so much meat added, is naturally fragrant. Stir-fried shepherd's purse with meat residue is also delicious. This cold mixed shepherd's purse also tastes good. 2 little ones chattering, and several adults also praised them endlessly. Little brother, your cold mixed shepherd's purse sauce is really delicious. I didn't expect shepherd's purse to be so delicious, no wonder city people are willing to spend so much money on it. Sister, is the dish I made delicious? Zhao Wenmu looked at Zhao Jing gently, with a smile in his eyes, and asked softly. Delicious. Zhao Jing doesn't remember the last time she had such delicious food. Maybe she has never eaten it before, she nodded seriously. A pair of big apricot eyes shone brightly. Then I'll cook for you every day in the future. Received the signing invitation today. We ordinary people, we are so happy today. Readers can rest assured to invest. P.S. There is still a night shift at night. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Wild Vegetable Sales. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Wild Vegetable Sales. Brother and sister in law are all skilled farmers. After lunch, a group of people dug up 150 to 60 kilograms of wild vegetables in just over an hour. Among them, shepherd's purse and gray cabbage are the most common. In fact, the most common one on the mountain is bitter cabbage, but bitter cabbage has a special taste and its consumption is actually smaller. Throughout the afternoon, Zhao Wenmu and Zhao Jing stayed in the yard cleaning up wild vegetables, while Zhao Wenmu also learned how to take care of the little girl. For example, at this moment, the little girl suddenly started crying. The young couple quickly approached to check, and it turned out they had pulled. Zhao Jing took a clean diaper, picked up the little girl and prepared to change her, but Zhao Wenmu opened his hands. Sister, I'll come. Although he was not yet proficient, he smoothly took off the diaper for the little girl, following the example. However, looking at his daughter's pink and tender buttocks, he was in a dilemma. How to wipe it? What to use for wiping? Zhao Jing reached out and handed a warm and soft towel. Wipe gently with a towel dipped in hot water. The water temperature should not be too hot as it may scald the baby. The towel needs to be wiped twice from front to back. After wiping once, you need to wash it first and cannot wipe it again. Don't rub back and forth, it will hurt the baby. Don't push your baby's buttocks too high, she will feel uncomfortable. Zhao Jing speaks softly and delicately. It turns out there are so many things to pay attention to when wiping the baby's butt. As Zhao Wenmu moved his hands, the little one seemed to feel comfortable, and his crying gradually subsided. Then with a small pop, a small golden stool landed in Zhao Wenmu's hand. The little one even giggled, completely unaware of what he had done wrong. Zhao Jing's face suddenly changed. She was afraid that Zhao Wenmu would get angry and lose his temper again. Zhao Wenmu was also stunned. After being stunned for a while, he suddenly burst out laughing. Girl, are you thanking Dad for giving him so many golden beans? He is really happy to live a lifetime, and now in his heart, his precious daughter's whole body is fragrant, even Baba. Every scene of taking care of a baby is the most beautiful memory in the future. You can still use this to tease your daughter in the future, just think about it and be happy. Zhao Jing was surprised and looked at Zhao Wenmu. His young and handsome face was filled with the most sincere happiness. Is this really the little brother with 5 fingers free from the sunshine and spring water? I forgot to tell you, when babies pull, they usually pull 2 or 3 times intermittently, it's all my fault. She reached out to hold the little girl and gestured for Zhao Wenmu to wash his hands. The little one kept giggling in his mother's arms. After laughing, he still held his hand in his mouth and sucked hard. Not only am I not angry, but I also know how to joke and adjust the atmosphere. I hope I can do this in the future. Zhao Jing silently thought in her heart. After washing his hands, Zhao Wenmu returned and lightly tapped Zhao Jing's forehead with a smile. This is a punishment for your poor teaching. At night, Zhao Wenmu naturally took over the task of taking care of the little one, although Zhao Jing was still a bit uneasy. Whenever Zhao Wenmu got up to nurse and changed the diaper for the little girl, she would nervously watch from the side. Zhao Wenmu was not forced either. He believed that in a few more days, Zhao Jing would trust him even more. After all, this is only the second night, and he is indeed not very proficient. The next morning, Zhao Wenmu and his second brother Zhao Wenguang drove a cart into the city. The ox cart was slightly faster than Zhao Wenmu carrying a large basket, and the two of them arrived at the family area of the sugar factory in about an hour. De Huang Niu pulled 150.60 kilograms of wild vegetables and 2 men, which was not difficult at all. Even so, both of them have been walking along the way. The big yellow cattle need to cultivate land to pull grain, and its role is significant. Rural people cherish it very much. Zhao Wenguang took out a cloth bag containing flour and laid it on the ground, stacking piles of wild vegetables on top. Green and fresh wild vegetables, clean and without any impurities. I arrived a bit early today, and there aren't many people on the street yet. A few minutes later, more and more people gradually gathered around. Young man, I made the sauce according to your instructions, and the cold shepherd's purse salad is really delicious. Yes, I made shepherd's purse buns yesterday. My father.in. Law always boasted about not having such delicious shepherd's purse buns in years. It turned out that the 2 older sisters who brought their first business to me yesterday came to buy it early in the morning because they thought it was delicious. Zhao Wenmu had anticipated that wild vegetables would be delicious and not expensive, as well as have various benefits. It would be surprising if there were not many repeat customers. This time, the 2 sisters each ordered 2 pounds of wild vegetables, and Zhao Wenmu smiled and said hello to them, accepting the money. Others have also started buying, and most of the family members of the employees are familiar with each other. Wild vegetables are delicious and beneficial to health. It was already spread here yesterday. Some rumors even go viral, such as, Old Li said that after eating bitter vegetables dipped in sauce, he felt that his high blood pressure had indeed decreased. Lu Jie's son grew a lot taller after eating gray cabbage. Xiao Zhang's face looks even better after eating gray cabbage. Some words gradually become more exaggerated as they spread from one person to another. In this era, the spiritual entertainment of the people is still lacking, otherwise it wouldn't have been a hot topic just to eat wild vegetables. But this is a big good thing for Zhao Wenmu. He originally thought that it would take some time for the wild vegetable business to grow, but as more and more people bought it and its reputation gradually improved, its daily sales would also increase. But I didn't expect to reach the pinnacle of my career. Zhao Wenguang was directly stunned. He, who has always been amiable and eloquent, has never seen so many people rushing to make purchases. He can't speak anymore and just keeps weighing dishes and collecting money. He still doesn't believe that wild vegetables are so popular. Although the whole family had finished the shepherd's purse banquet yesterday and no longer doubted that shepherd's purse could sell for money, they never expected the sales to be so hot. In less than half an hour, the wild vegetables on the cart were sold out, leaving only 2 specially reserved baskets. That's the goods to be delivered to state-owned hotels. Surprisingly, more people didn't buy it today than yesterday. Young man, aren't there still 2 baskets in the car? Why aren't they sold? Yes, yes. Some people haven't bought it for 2 consecutive days, and they are already a bit unhappy. Big sister, those are reserved for state-owned restaurants. They already made a prepayment yesterday, and I will deliver them to them later. Zhao Wenmu quickly explained loudly. You must explain the situation clearly, otherwise it will make a few customers angry and not make a big deal. They will report to the factory or public security, and not let themselves sell vegetables here. I'll come back tonight at 5 o'clock, everyone can come back then. Can I pay you the money first? You can keep it for me then, don't have it anymore. Upon hearing Zhao Wenmu say that he would come to sell wild vegetables at night, several elder sisters quickly had to prepay for the vegetables, as the elderly and children at home were waiting to eat. Zhao Wenmu didn't refuse either. He collected the money, borrowed a pen and paper, and jotted down who needed how many pounds and vegetables. Everyone was satisfied and the brothers breathed a sigh of relief. Leaving the family area of the sugar factory, Zhao Wenguang still felt dizzy. Little brother, all the wild vegetables have really been sold. Zhao Wenmu smiled and patted the bulging small cloth bag in his arms, then lowered his voice and said. Second brother, do you believe it now? Do you want to work with me? Believe it. Believe it. Go dig wild vegetables when you get home. The 2 brothers did not go directly to the state-owned restaurant, but went to the supply and marketing cooperative first. Zhao Wenmu bought a pack of dodgy brand cigarettes produced by the state-owned Quanqing cigarette factory, soft pack, for a total of 81 yuan. Zhao Wenguang felt very distressed after seeing it, cursing him for not knowing how to save. Such expensive cigarettes are not something that these wealthy people can afford to smoke. Second brother, this cigarette is used to promote relationships. Zhao Wenmu explained with a smile. Zhao Wenguang is not stupid, he can be said to be very good at interpersonal relationships, and after thinking about it, he understood. The state-owned hotel is located on Guanyang Street, not far from the county government, which is also the busiest place in Pingyang County. At around 8:30, there were not many people in the restaurant. In Zhao Wenmu's eyes, state-owned hotels may seem low and rustic, but in Zhao Wenguang's eyes, they are magnificent and grand. He parked his cart not far from the restaurant entrance and timidly dared not walk towards it. Zhao Wenmu didn't embarrass his second brother either. He asked Zhao Wenguang to wait for a moment before stepping into the restaurant. Comrade, may I ask if you want to eat? A little girl with a fried dough twists braid came up. It seemed that she was the waiter here. Comrade, hello. I have made an appointment with Deputy Director Li Guofu to come and deliver wild vegetables today. Can you help me call him? When the girl heard Li Guofu's name, she immediately nodded and asked him to wait here. She also poured him a cup of hot water. Then he quickly walked into the kitchen. In no time, she led a young man wearing a chef's uniform out. Another acquaintance, Wang Yuming, the younger disciple of Li Guofu. In their past lives, the 2 of them could also be considered good friends who shared the same window. Are you brother Zhao? My master went to the city for a meeting today, and he told me about the wild vegetables. Wang Yuming and Zhao Wenmu turned to the back door of the restaurant, weighed the wild vegetables, and unloaded them into the kitchen. The total weight is over 52 pounds, and Zhao Wenmu intentionally added a little extra, but did not charge any extra money. Then he took out 2 more cigarettes and handed them to Wang Yuming. This kid, like his master, likes to smoke. Wang Yuming thanked him and carefully put away the cigarette. He will enter the kitchen later and cannot smoke. Big Chicken brand cigarettes, I usually can't bear to smoke such good cigarettes. Each one is almost equivalent to a pound of white noodles. Zhao Gu, your wild vegetables look so watery, without any weeds or mud. As a chef apprentice, he was genuinely happy to see such wild vegetables. After all, washing and picking vegetables are all his jobs. Zhao, my master said we still need 50 pounds of wild vegetables tomorrow. The transaction is completed, and Zhao Wenmu is in a good mood. He believes that the purchase volume of wild vegetables in the state-owned hotel will definitely increase. More small money is waving to oneself. The two brothers didn't go home directly, but first drove the cart around the city. Zhao Wenmu wanted to see if there were any other places besides the sugar factory family area that were suitable for selling wild vegetables. After circling around, I have a rough idea in my mind. I bought some eggs, cotton cloth, and candy from the supply and marketing cooperative, and the two of them hurriedly went home. Wow, there are many recommended monthly tickets and comments. Where is it? In someone else's place. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Burning and Burning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Burning and Burning. On the way home, Zhao Wenguang counted the money in his hand over and over again. The total is 12.7 yuan. Including the 5 yuan 8 received in advance. Second brother, we also need to add 1.8 yuan for cigarettes, 1 yuan for 4 pounds of eggs, 1.2 yuan for cotton cloth, and 3 cents for candy. The total is 11.2 yuan. The 50 pounds of wild vegetables from the state-owned restaurant paid me 5 yuan yesterday, and all of them added up to 16.2 yuan. 16 yuan too. Zhao Wenguang exclaimed in surprise that farmers don't earn as much in a month. This is just a wild vegetable dug by the whole family for an hour yesterday. Little brother, is it true that 2 days' income is even higher than the wages of sugar factory workers? These days, working in a sugar factory is a coveted job in everyone's eyes. Of course. Second brother, do you believe that you will earn more in the future? Zhao Wenguang certainly believes it. After all, they still have to go to deliver the dishes tonight. Zhao Wenguang was mentally active and immediately thought of a broader prospect. Little brother, can we go to more places to sell? Go to the glass factory, cigarette factory, Guanyang Street. Second brother, don't worry about this. Let's take it step by step. There are still some risks in selling things individually now. Zhao Wenguang also calmed down upon hearing these words. Indeed, the individual economy has not yet been widely recognized. However, his face turned green and red, clearly reflecting on something intense. Sure enough, among the whole family, the second brother is the fastest to embrace change. It doesn't matter if there are policy risks, as you have experience from your past life, just keep a close eye on them. After returning home and listening to Zhao Wenguang's story, everyone had no further doubts. Sure enough, everything you do requires someone with good credit to endorse it. Similarly, when Zhao Wenmu said it, everyone was skeptical. Zhao Wenguang spoke it out, and everyone firmly believed it. Wild vegetables can really make money. And you can earn a lot of money. At present, peach blossom pollination and sweet potato seedling cultivation have also been completed, and there is no urgent agricultural work. Everyone packed their things and immediately went up the mountain. Even the little ones Zimeng and Ziding followed along. Zimeng Deqiu was only able to attend elementary school, and at that time there were no kindergartens or daycare centers in the countryside. Children can help pick wild vegetables, and at this age, rural children have to help their families with fertilization, sowing, and thinning of seedlings. If the little girl could even help with cooking at home. Is it customary to have lunch together at Zhao Wenmu's house at noon, or is it Zhao Wenmu's head chef? You have to seize every opportunity to prove that you have become reliable, right? Zhao Jing wanted to help, but he smiled and pushed her back onto the chair. He made shepherd's purse, meat filling, braised pork, and scallion oil with grey cabbage this time. Huishao is a popular delicacy among the people of Qi, and in later times, Weixian Ro Huishao became famous and sold very well. Moreover, fire roasting is easy to make and convenient to carry. Wrap the filling in the dough, then gently roll it out into a round pancake shape and place it on the pan used for making pancakes until cooked. A wok is a flat large pot that can be used to light a fire with firewood. There has always been a traditional custom in the rural areas of Chilu, where each household holds a pan and cooks pancakes. The pan is very large and can be cooked on multiple fires at once. Scallion oil was instructed to be prepared by Zhao Jing before leaving in the morning. Unlike scallion oil in southern regions, this type of scallion oil involves chopping scallions into small bowls, adding an appropriate amount of soy oil, salt, and water, and then steaming them over high heat in a pot. It is actually a mixture of steamed scallions, oil, water, and salt, maximizing the preservation of the original flavor and fragrance of scallions. After blanching, mix the gray cabbage with scallion oil without adding any other seasoning. The fragrance of scallions and the deliciousness of gray cabbage blend perfectly. Zhao Wenmu's skillful rolling of pies, roasting on fire, and interspersed with handling of gray cabbage, left everyone stunned by his composure and proficiency. Generally, one person is responsible for burning and flipping the dough, while the other person is responsible for rolling out the dough and making the fire. Otherwise, it is easy to accidentally burn on fire. Only sister in-law Lu Shumei can handle the entire process proficiently on her own. Even Song Yun and Zhao Jing couldn't do it. "Okay, little brother, when have you been so amazing?" Song Yun asked with a smile. The sister in-law also kept nodding. Second sister in-law, when I was a child, I used to burn fire for our mother many times. I've seen it a long time ago. This is true. When Zhao Wenmu was young, he didn't mess around. When Lu Sufang spread pancakes and baked them, he always liked to help with the fire. Children love to play with fire. But the reason why he is so proficient is still because after leaving Pingyang County in his previous life, his first job was to set up a snack stall and sell barbecue. Roasting does not require everyone to eat together. Zhao Wenmu cooked the fire and placed it directly on the grate. He picked up 2 small radish heads and used them to heat the fire, shaking his left and right hands back and forth. He also tore open a small opening in the fire and blew air inside to cool it down faster. In no time, he started eating in big gulps. Zhao Wenmu picked up a fire that was no longer hot and handed it to Zhao Jing with a smile. "Sister, please try it." Although they already have children, they are mostly siblings, and even Zhao Jing is somewhat afraid of Zhao Wenmu due to his previous bad behavior. Relaxing relationships and building trust can only be done step by step, but Zhao Wenmu still calls Zhao Jing sister, as before. He believes that one day, not only will there be family affection, but also love between them. Zhao Jing could feel the change in Zhao Wenmu. Although it was unrealistic and made her doubt if it was a dream, she didn't want to wake up either. "Believe me again, little brother. It's delicious." A few older brothers and sister in-law couldn't help but feel delighted. "Little brother, you can't make any more mistakes in the future." "That's right, treat Ah Jing better in the future." "Well, uncle, be good to your aunt." Even little Radish Head came to lecture, and Zhao Jing was a bit shy. She quickly helped Zhao Wenmu speak up. "Big brother, sister in-law, little brother is quite kind to me." Zhao Wenmu stood up and patted his chest. "Okay, uncle, don't worry, I will definitely treat Ah Jing well in the future." Everyone laughed, and Lu Shumei patted Zhao Wenmu's shoulder and said, "Little brother, Ah Jing is already our younger sister. If you bully her again, be careful not to be beaten up by big uncle and second uncle. Third uncle, beat you up. Beat you up. Oh, I was completely expelled from my family." Zhao Jing used to be the third of the 4 sisters. Even Zhao Xuehai had threatened some time ago that she had only Zhao Jing as her daughter, and not Zhao Wenmu as her son. Lu Sumei wiped away her tears and said that she had caused Zhao Jing trouble. "Ha ha ha. Laughter echoed one after another. Such a nice day. Zhao Wenmu cooked a lot of fire and prepared it for dinner and tomorrow morning's breakfast. He didn't go to eat until Zhao Jing quickly finished 2 pieces of fire and replaced him. Everyone went on digging wild vegetables without a lunch break. Labor enthusiasm has surged unprecedentedly. Zhao Jing stayed at home to take care of the little girl, and the 2 little radish heads also took a nap at home. In the afternoon, everyone was digging wild vegetables on the mountain, while Zhao Jing and her 2 little ones were picking and sorting vegetables at home. At 4 o'clock, Zhao Wenmu returned to the city with picked wild vegetables. This time he asked his elder brother Zhao Wenlin to help drive the car. Let the big brother also witness the scene of selling vegetables. The others continued to dig wild vegetables for a while before returning home to pick them, and worked until it was dark. The sales at night were equally hot, and the workers who came home from work remembered the nagging of their mother-in-law and elderly, so they also bought some wild vegetables on the way back. The older sisters who didn't buy wild vegetables in the morning waited here early. In just over half an hour, all the wild vegetables were sold, and the 58 pounds reserved in the morning were also given out. Seeing that there were still 2 or 3 pounds left, Zhao Wenmu decided not to sell and walked over to the old man who was cleaning the house. "Grandpa, there are some wild vegetables here that I dug up in the mountains myself. I'll give you a try." Although wild vegetables are leftovers, their appearance is not bad at all, as they were all just picked today. Although the old man wears simple clothes, he is also clean and tidy. Zhao Wenmu didn't think much, only this little wild vegetable was left, and there was no need to continue waiting. It would be great to end the stall and go home. Instead of selling it cheap or throwing it on the road, it's better to give it to the elderly. The old man didn't refuse, smiled and said thank you before accepting it. At this moment, people don't have that much defense or affectation. Zhao Wenlin is no better than his second son Zhao Wenguang. Although he had already heard about the popularity of wild vegetables in the morning, he still couldn't react to it with his own eyes. "What about half a car full of wild vegetables? Why are you grabbing them like you don't want money? 1 cent per kilogram, it's as good as white noodles." When he returned home at night, the small mountain-like wild vegetables in Zhao Wenlin's eyes were no longer wild vegetables, they were all white flour. "I wish I could go up the mountain and dig wild vegetables in the dark." When the 2 of them returned home, everyone had just finished picking wild vegetables and was planning to go back to their respective homes. Zhao Wenmu stopped everyone and counted the money, which was 10.4 yuan in total. That is to say, in addition to the 58 pounds reserved for lunch, we also sold 104 pounds in the evening. He planned to share a portion of the money between his eldest and second brothers, but was stopped by his sister-in-law Lu Shumei. "Little brother, you can keep all the money until you earn more in the future." "That's right, but little brother, you can give the money to Ah Jing for safekeeping." Second sister-in-law Song Yun also took the conversation. Zhao Wenmu was deeply moved in his heart. True family members are always like this, giving without expecting anything in return. He had not experienced this feeling for too long. "In the previous life, I was alone. Even if I was wealthy, what would happen? No one shares the joy of success, no one cares about the hardships behind you, everything is just done numbly without any sense of achievement." Good. Then we'll share it when we earn more in the future. He believes that in this life, he can lead everyone to live a better life together. Big brother patted Zhao Wenmu's shoulder and took everyone home separately. Zhao Wenmu counted all the money, totaling 23.1 yuan. He took out 22 yuan and handed it to Zhao Jing. "Sister, I'll keep track of all the money from now on." Zhao Jing has been deceived, stolen, and plundered by Zhao Wenmu so many times, and this is the first time she has seen a return of money. The big apricot's eyes quickly filled with mist, and she lowered her head to wipe them. "After a while, I finally received the money. Count out $2 more and put them in Zhao Wenmu's hands." Then he entered the room with red eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Cooperation and Win-Win with Li Guofu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Cooperation and Win-Win with Li Guofu. At night, Zhao Wenmu was still responsible for taking care of the little girl. He wakes up 4 or 5 times a night. Sometimes the little girl cries and gets up to feed her rice noodles or change her diaper. Sometimes it's the initiative to wake up and check if the little girl is sleeping peacefully. At this moment, the little girl was holding up her 2 plump little hands next to her head, sleeping soundly. Zhao Wenmu's heart was about to melt. The little one suddenly seemed a bit uncomfortable, and his hands began to scratch randomly, then he started crying. Zhao Wenmu quickly got up, put on his clothes, and picked up the little one. After checking, it should just be hungry. Zhao Jing also sat up and started getting dressed. Sister, it's okay, don't get up. As Zhao Wenmu said this, he brewed rice noodles. After making them, he put them aside for a while to cool down. Then he expertly fed the little guy. Although the little guy is small, he is full of momentum when drinking rice noodles, ton, and his small throat is puffing. Zhao Jing has already put on her clothes and stood over. She looked at the little guy drinking rice noodles in large mouthfuls, and her eyes were also soft. Little brother, let me take care of the girl at night from now on. You are already very busy during the day. Zhao Wenmu has to dig wild vegetables during the day and also travel back and forth to the county to sell wild vegetables. He also cooks the food, which Zhao Jing thinks is too tiring for him. Zhao Wenmu, however, did not feel tired. Digging and selling wild vegetables were not physical labor, and he was also very happy cooking for his family. He now feels an inexhaustible amount of strength. Sister, it's okay, it's not tiring. After the little girl finished drinking, he gently swayed the little one to help her fall asleep faster, while gently pushing Zhao Jing onto the Kong. Zhao Jing couldn't resist him and had to go to bed obediently. The next morning, Zhao Wenmu and his second brother Zhao Wenguang drove almost a cart full of wild vegetables into the city to sell. Big brother and sister Law unexpectedly went to dig a big basket of wild vegetables early in the morning, right on the roadside entering the city. When Zhao Wenmu and the others arrived here, they loaded them directly into the car. Along the way, Zhao Wenmu sat in the car picking the basket of wild vegetables. He was a bit hesitant, there were a lot of wild vegetables today and they might not be sold out. Wild vegetables in the sugar factory are gaining popularity, selling around 300 pounds a day. I don't think we can sell so much in a while. He estimates that over 200 pounds per day should be enough. The wild vegetables on the cart are estimated to weigh 400 pounds. I wonder if the remaining wild vegetables can be eaten at the state-owned restaurant. He plans to sell the other alternative places in a few days. Sure enough, the business in the family area of the sugar factory is still booming, but it has not been able to create a miracle. They stayed until 8:30, almost half an hour longer than usual. There are still 10 kilograms of wild vegetables left on the car. Zhao Wenmu decided not to wait anymore. Now that everyone has finished breakfast and is back to work, he can't sell much longer. It's better to go directly to a state-owned restaurant so that you can go home early to work. Arriving at the back door of the restaurant, I found that Wang Yuming was already waiting there. Brother Zhao, you have come. Seeing the two brothers, Wang Yuming quickly came forward to greet them, his face full of enthusiasm. Seeing the expression on the boy's face, Zhao Wenmu knew that the state-owned hotel might need to increase its supply. The two of them greeted each other, and Wang Yuming quickly ran back to the kitchen. Soon, Li Guofu walked out with him. Director Li, how are the wild vegetables selling in the state-owned restaurant? Zhao Wenmu asked with a smile, handing each of them a cigarette. I also handed one to Zhao Wenguang. The answer is already written on Li Guofu's smiling face. Xiao Zhao, wild vegetables are so popular that many people don't even want to eat them. He looked at the wild vegetables on the cart and said. Can you sell me all of these today? Is there a problem? That's a good relationship. Okay, Xiao Wang, you've been to weigh it. Speaking, Li Guofu gestured for Zhao Wenmu to follow him to the side of the big willow tree, as if there was something to whisper. Zhao Wenguang saw the situation and went to help Wang Yuming unload and weigh the goods. Zhao, there will be a meeting in our county in a few days, and important leaders from the city will come over. Our state-owned restaurant will be responsible for hosting it. I wanted you to teach me a few more wild vegetables, but I know it's a bit presumptuous. Can I give you 10 yuan for each dish? Li Guofu felt a bit embarrassed. As a chef, he naturally understood that every dish was the foundation of a chef's livelihood. If it was not necessary, even if they paid for it, they might not be willing to sell it. But there's no way, the wild vegetables taught by Zhao Wenmu yesterday are much more delicious than what the restaurant used to cook. Hospitalizing superiors does not necessarily have to be luxurious, but it must be as delicious and innovative as possible. And at that time, the leaders of the state-owned hotels and guesthouses in Quanqing City will also come over, which directly affects his future. He can only ask for help with a face on his face. Zhao Wenmu didn't expect it to be this matter, so he naturally readily agreed. When Li Guofu taught himself culinary skills in his past life, he never concealed himself and also confiscated his tuition fees. He repaid his debts with his love in this life, which can be considered as gratitude. Director Li, no problem. I'll go and cook a few dishes for you later. You don't need to give me the money, it's all my own imagination, and it may not be delicious. Could you please give me a thumbs up? Zhao Wenmu spoke well, not only agreeing to the other party's request, but also taking care of Li Guofu's face. Li Guofu listened very attentively and made up his mind to give Zhao Wenmu art money. After all, this was originally for state-owned restaurants, and it was reasonable for the public to provide some money. Zhao Wenmu thought for a moment and then continued. Director Li, why don't you have a picnic banquet on your end to entertain the leaders? Oh. Zhao, please explain it carefully. Li Guofu's eyes lit up, that's a good idea. It is still 1980, and many protected animals and free animals in later generations are still rampant. Hunting, killing, and consumption are not illegal. Of course, it refers to common animals such as rabbits and chickens, not pandas or tigers. Our area is close to Daqing Mountain, where there is a rich variety of game. You can make a few wild vegetables, including some rabbit, wild chicken, wild boar meat, a few river crucian carp, and make some fish soup. There are both meat and vegetable soups, and we can also highlight our local characteristics. Li Guofu slapped his thigh, that's a great idea. Alright, this is good. Can you get the game? State-owned restaurants like pheasants and rabbits cost 2 yuan per kilogram to purchase, while fish costs 1.2 yuan per kilogram. 5-point pork is only over 70 cents per kilogram, and 2 yuan for wild game is already a very attractive price. At present, many farmers will hunt some game. It is not popular to eat game in this era, at least in the eyes of rural people. Game is not as delicious as pork. Pork is fresh and tender, with a lot of fat, and in the eyes of the poor, it tastes better than game. Moreover, farmers cannot sell the prey they catch, and there are no sales channels at all. Li Guofu thought for a moment and then added. If the response is good, you will be responsible for all the game that state-owned restaurants need in the future. This is quite a bait, and Li Guofu also hopes that Zhao Wenmu can help them produce a few more wild game dishes. Okay. When do you need it on your end? Zhao Wenmu readily agreed. It's better to participate and contribute to the protection of wildlife in your own way. For example, if you have the ability in the future, you can engage in artificial breeding of rabbits and pheasants. Of course, this is all for later discussion. At present, there is only one sentence. If you have money, don't make a fool of yourself. After agreeing on the delivery time and approximate quantity with Li Guofu, Zhao Wenmu went to the back kitchen of the state-owned restaurant and demonstrated a few wild vegetables to everyone. There are scallion oil and Chinese cabbage steamed cake, double pepper Chinese cabbage, shepherd's purse slippery chicken slice, shepherd's purse bean curd soup, shepherd's purse braised pork belly, bitter cabbage fried rice, almond bitter cabbage. Everyone was stunned when they saw that several wild vegetables had such a variety of colors, aromas, and flavors. Zhao Wenmu thought for a moment and decided to take the opportunity to expand his career in wild vegetables. So he dictated a few more dishes. Stir-fried eggs with Chinese tune, stir-fried shrimp with dandelion, mint tempura, and even dandelion flower tea. They are all seasonal wild vegetables, he can supply them directly. Not only did it provide a detailed demonstration of each dish's preparation, but it also specifically talked about the benefits each dish has for physical health. Listening to the crowd's drool, I wished I could taste it right away. Li Guofu's heart was stirred as he listened, and Zhao Wenmu was indeed a treasure. Zhao Wenmu answered everyone's questions seriously, while Li Guofu quietly walked out of the kitchen and came to the office. When Zhao Wenmu left, Li Guofu quietly handed him an envelope, which contained 110.40 yuan. 11 whole sheets of great unity. I saw the great unity for the first time since my rebirth, and it turned out to be 11. 10 yuan and 4 yuan are for wild vegetables in the morning. 100 yuan goes without saying. Zhao Wenmu quickly declined, saying that he didn't want money means he genuinely didn't want it. 100 yuan may be a huge sum for others, but as someone with a wealth of over 10 billion yuan in his past life, he naturally wouldn't change his mind just because of 100 yuan. Li Guofu could also see that he really didn't want it, and he immediately had a higher opinion of him in his heart. He patted Zhao Wenmu's shoulder and said gently but firmly. Zhao, although this money is not much, you must accept it. The money passed through Minglu and was personally approved by Director Zhang. The hotel has also recorded it. Zhao Wenmu knew that he had to accept the money, and since it was from the government and he had paid a reasonable price, why not accept it? He did not give Li Guofu any money. If Li Guofu is given money, it will be a kickback, and the nature of this matter will be different. To repay Li Guofu, there are many reasonable and legal ways to help him achieve results and achieve a better future. This is the right path. He nodded, collected the money, and smiled at Li Guofu, saying, Director Li, I'll take this money and I'll organize a few wild game recipes for you later. But as agreed, you can't give me any more money. Li Guofu was pleasantly surprised upon hearing these words. State-owned restaurants need to prepare good game, which naturally requires new dishes. He realized that the state-owned restaurant had already taken advantage of Zhao Wenmu today. If you ask for the other party's wild game recipe for free again, it will be a bit of an advantage. So he also secretly decided in his heart that in the wild vegetable and game business, as long as he did not violate discipline, he should still take care of Zhao Wenmu's side as much as possible. It is almost impossible for others to supply state-owned hotels. The situation of deep binding and win-win cooperation between both parties has opened up. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Son Daqing visits to collect debts. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 9. Son Daqing visits to collect debts. Zhao Wenguang didn't expect his younger brother to stay in the kitchen of a state-owned restaurant for so long. He waited outside for more than 2 hours. The restaurant was magnificent, and the kitchen was definitely very clean and tidy. He was worried about getting dirty on his feet, so he refused to go in. Li Guofu arranged for a waiter to take Zhao Wenguang to the lobby to rest for a while. So Zhao Wenguang drank tea for 2 hours at a state-owned restaurant. But as the morning passed, he became less reserved. After Zhao Wenmu left the state-owned restaurant, the two hurriedly headed straight to the supply and marketing cooperative. Some small items can be purchased without a ticket, but the price will be much higher. Zhao Wenmu thought for a moment and decided that it would be more cost-effective to have someone turn around and count the tickets. In the future, when buying large items, it's even more impossible to buy without a ticket. In this era, having tickets is better than having money. However, snakes have their way, mice have their way, and there are always people who have money but don't have tickets, so they need to buy tickets. As long as there is market demand, someone will find ways to do this business. So, ticket scalpers naturally also exist. Zhao Wenmu even values these people very much, although most people have a bad impression of ticket scalpers, believing that they are problem youths and typical of neglecting their work. Zhao Wenmu knew in his heart that these people were the most flexible and daring to eat crabs in the current whole society. Many of the figures who will dominate the world in the future come from this group. These people usually wander around supply and marketing cooperatives, state-owned restaurants, guesthouses, and bus stations, selling various tickets to those in need. Zhao Wenmu casually scanned the surroundings and soon discovered a possible ticket dealer. That is a young man of 17 or 18 years old, with his hands in his pocket, standing crooked and twisted. His eyes occasionally scan the pedestrians on the road, especially those who seem to be going to the supply and marketing agency to buy things. He occasionally glanced at both ends of the street, looking sneaky. There's no way, if caught by the public security, I'll be locked up for at least a few days. It should be the person you're looking for. He asked his second brother to wait for him at the entrance of the supply and marketing cooperative, and then walked straight towards the young man. If it weren't for his slow walking, the young man would have run away in fear, almost thinking that the police were coming to arrest him. What stunned him even more was that when the person approached him, he immediately asked, "Comrade, do you have any tickets? What tickets do you have?" Yes, there are cloth vouchers, grain vouchers, and industrial vouchers. I want 100 pounds of noodles, 20 servings of oil tickets, 6 pounds of soy sauce, vinegar, and salt each, 10 pounds of white sugar, and 10 servings of cotton cloth. How much does it cost in total? Brother, you say it again, I didn't remember. It's really not his fault. Zhao Wenmu has too many things to buy, and there are only a few people available. You should know that one person's quota is for 1 year. Of course, a person's annual quota doesn't have much to offer. Zhao Wenmu said it again. The young man carefully noted it down. Brother, the total is 11.8 cents. I don't have that much here. If you can wait a moment, I can get it for you. After speaking, the young man gestured with his eyes, indicating that he had to go to the nearby colleagues to purchase. Okay, I'll wait for you for 10 minutes. In less than 10 minutes, the young man ran over panting heavily. This is a big business, so I dare not neglect it. Although the young man looks carefree, he is still quite reliable in handling affairs, and all the necessary tickets are ready without any problem. Zhao Wenmu readily paid the money and then asked. Is it a ticket with 3 turns and 1 sound? Bicycles, sewing machines, watches, and radios, commonly known as 3 turns and 1 sound, are the most important industrial products of this era. If the dowry of someone's family can be arranged in 3 rounds, it will definitely be a huge event. As far as Shanqian Village is concerned, one thing is that there are families from good families. To buy these things, industrial vouchers alone are not enough, and separate tickets are also required. Brother, I don't have it on hand, but I can get it. Can you give me a few days? Okay, you can search for it first. If you have any news, go to the state-owned restaurant to find Wang Yuming and ask him to pass it on to me. Okay. After handling the bills, Zhao Wenmu turned his head and walked into the supply and marketing cooperative. It has to be said that Zhao Wenmu's behavior, which often involves dozens of people, not only frightened Zhao Wenguang, but also the salespeople of the supply and marketing cooperative. In this era, there is no customer-oriented service concept. State-owned supply and marketing cooperatives are a very sacred place, and salespeople not only look at people through their noses, but at least have a somewhat condescending attitude. Even the walls were adorned with slogans saying, "Do not beat customers indiscriminately." At this moment, the salesperson's attitude towards Zhao Wenmu has also become very friendly and positive, definitely worthy of being called sunshine service and smiling face service. Zhao Wenmu bought so many things for a reason. First of all, these things are not very many because the allocation per person is very small. Secondly, there are many people in Zhao Wenmu's family. Apart from leaving these things for his own family, he also needs to send some to his eldest brother, second brother, and parents. When I earn some more money, I bought a bicycle, which is more convenient. I also need to send some things to my elder sister and second sister. No way, plus Zhao Jing, the Zhao family is just 7 brothers and sisters. Only the younger sister Zhao Wenqiu is still in high school, while the others have already started a family. Zhao Wenmu also bought 5 friendship brand snow cream and 10 clam oil. Snow cream is a good thing. When applied to hands and face, it not only keeps it moist, but also has a fragrant and warm taste. Rural people generally cannot bear to use snow cream. They usually use clam oil for 10 cents each, which can last for up to half a year. Its moisturizing effect is also remarkable, especially suitable for people with dry and cracked hands and feet in winter. With the tickets, buying so many things would be much cheaper, costing a total of 436 yuan. Zhao Wenguang tried his best to restrain the impulse to drag his younger brother out. When paying, it felt as if I was cutting his flesh with a knife and feeling heartbroken. It's not his fault. Zhao Wenguang has lived for over 20 years and has never spent so much money before. I never had the experience of spending 5 yuan at once. Watching Zhang De unite and leave them is as painful as losing a loved one. No, I can't stand it anymore. He just turned around and walked out of the supply and marketing cooperative. Hey, second brother, where are you going? Help me move things quickly. Zhao Wenmu quickly stopped him, and with the help of 2 comrades from the supply and marketing cooperative, the 2 brothers loaded their things onto a cart and rushed home. Go back to Shanqian Village. The people digging wild vegetables on the mountain also felt a little worried when they saw that the 2 brothers had not returned yet. I came back around 10 o'clock before. It's almost 12 o'clock now, and surprisingly no one is seen yet. I guess they can't sell it, and my elder brother and sister in-law also have some regrets. They shouldn't have packed that big basket of wild vegetables for them in the morning. Mainly, Zhao Wenlin followed Zhao Wenmu to sell wild vegetables last night, and was really shocked by the explosive scene. In the morning, he couldn't fall asleep, so he dragged his wife up the mountain to dig wild vegetables. The second and third ones probably haven't been sold yet. They'll come back later. Let's go home for dinner first. As noon approached, sister-in-law Lu Shumei called everyone home. Who knew that as soon as they returned to Zhao Wenmu's house and hadn't started cooking yet, 6 or 7 people walked in. Zhao Jing's face immediately changed. She recognized that most of these people were Zhao Wenmu's wine and card friends, and there were also 2 people who liked to follow Zhao Wenmu to fish, shrimp, and fight, including Song Wenyuan and Qian Erniu. Song Wenyuan is Song Yun's cousin, Qian Erniu is from Tukun, Shandong. Zhao Wenmu, the elder sister, married in Tukun, Shandong, and he often goes there to play. She looked at the other 5 people with flames in her eyes. She recognized these few people, including Li Ergu and Zhao Wenbao from her own village, who were still from Zhao Wenmu's family. These 2 people appear to be brothers and sisters with Zhao Wenmu, but in reality, they deceived Zhao Wenmu into wandering around purely to make him the scapegoat. The money Zhao Wenmu took from her hand was quickly taken away or consumed by his good brothers under various pretexts. Zhao Wenmu was instigated by them to fight people many times, but he didn't know that it was these 2 people who slandered him from the beginning for being promiscuous. At first, I tried hard to persuade Zhao Wenmu, but after being severely injured a few times, I dared not speak again. The other 3 people were from Sanlizhuang, led by son Daqing, who tricked Zhao Wenmu into gambling. Every time, Zhao Wenmu would lose all his money. Just thinking about it, you know there's something fishy about it. Every time Zhao Wenmu loses money, he always gives her a hard time and gets angry when he comes home. How hurtful cold words can be, she doesn't even remember how many times she secretly hid and cried. Before Zhao Jing could speak, son Daqing shouted. Where's Zhao Wenmu? He owes me 17 yuan and promised to pay it off within 5 days. Do you want to default on the debt? That's right, you can't just want to default on your debts. The other few people also started making a scene. Upon hearing these words, Zhao Jing's mind exploded with a buzzing sound, and the little brother went gambling again. She didn't know what to say in the yard anymore, and her mind kept repeating the same sentence repeatedly. Little brother went gambling again. He's still lying to me. When the Zhao Wenmu brothers entered, they saw this scene. In the courtyard, two groups of people were facing each other fiercely, each with a familiar face and seemingly someone who used to hang out together. They cursed and said, "It's only natural to owe money." On the other side were the eldest brother and sister Law, the second sister Law, and two young people. Upon closer inspection, they were Song Wenyuan and Qian Erniu. After leaving home in their past lives, during the period before their parents passed away, these two little brothers helped them take care of their parents and take care of their affairs, which can be considered as fulfilling their responsibilities as sons. After developing themselves, I brought the two of them to my side and worked together for decades before I could recognize them all at once. The two groups of people were arguing fiercely, and Song Yun, the second sister Law, still held a wooden fork for fighting and stacking grass in her hand. There was only one person standing on the side in a daze. Although it was a bustling courtyard, there was a sense of loneliness and desolation. Zhao Wenmu suddenly pushed son Daqing away. Although he didn't remember who he was the most reckless in the yard. He reached out to pull Zhao Jing, but was thrown away by the other party. Zhao Jing glared at him fiercely, her eyes filled with disappointment and despair. Son Daqing rushed over again. Zhao Wenmu, why don't you repay the money, kid? What more money is there? What's wrong, don't you admit it, right? You promised to repay the money within 5 days, but you still want to admit it, kid. Zhao Wenmu really doesn't remember this, after all, it was already 40 years ago for him. Over the years, from struggling to make a living to dominating the shopping mall, every time he recalls the past, it is also a longing and regret for Zhao Jing in the little girl, and an apology for his family. How could he still remember such a number one person? He glanced at Song Wenyuan and Qian Erniu, and Song Wenyuan nodded lightly. It seems to be true. Zhao Wenmu dug out 17 yuan and threw it to son Daqing. There's still 5 yuan left, interest is 1 yuan per day. He threw another 5 yuan to the other party. Get out. Get out of here now. Zhao Wenmu felt that he couldn't bear any longer, and now he wanted to kill son Daqing. Son Daqing originally wanted to say a few more harsh words, but looking at Zhao Wenmu's red eyes, he opened his mouth and ultimately didn't say anything. A few people left in frustration. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Sister, don't leave me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Sister, don't leave me. After son Daqing and others left, the courtyard fell into a strange silence. Zhao Jing was completely immersed in her emotions at this moment. In the past 2 years, she has been constantly hurt by Zhao Wenmu, gradually closing her guard and locking herself in a thick protective shell. There was no expectation for Zhao Wenmu, and the harm he caused her was no longer as painful. However, she thought her little brother had really improved this time. Just as her strong defense opened a gap, she was fiercely stabbed by a knife. The pain made it impossible for her to breathe. She just wants to leave here, she can't bear it anymore. It was evident that the atmosphere in the yard was eerie. Zhao Wenyuan and Qian Erniu glanced at Zhao Wenmu and quickly left. Sister-in-law Lu Shumei wanted to help Zhao Jing, but in the end, she didn't dare to go up. Zhao Wenlin and Zhao Wenguang could only stand awkwardly on the side. Zhao Jing suddenly turned around and rushed into the house, picked up the little girl and walked outside. She didn't know where to go either. She couldn't go to Zhao Shuahai and his wife, and she didn't want the old man to worry about him either. But she just wants to leave here. Zhao Wenmu saw Zhao Jing holding the little girl and resolutely walking out, and he was completely devastated. Did Zhao Jing jump off the cliff with the same mood in her past life, holding a little girl? In a daze, he could no longer distinguish whether this was the present or the past. Bang! Zhao Wenmu knelt on the ground. "Sister, don't leave me. Don't leave me." The voice was filled with sadness and despair. The past and present had already merged into one at this moment. He was both begging for Zhao Jing in this life and begging for her in the past. As he spoke, he slapped his face hard, and one cheek immediately turned red and swollen. "Sister, please. Don't leave me." In the yard, only Zhao Wenmu's whispers and the sound of slapping his face could be heard. When Zhao Wenmu slapped him the third time, he only felt the smell of rust in his mouth. At this moment, in his eyes were Zhao Jing and a little girl from his past life, an impatient and heartbroken old father, a regretful old mother, an elder sister who had difficulty calming her emotions before her death, an older brother who held a grudge against her, as well as his sister.in.law, second brother, second sister.in.law, and others who had been let down by him. He couldn't feel the increasing strength in his hands. He just wants to kill Zhao Wenmu from his past life. The fourth palm, big brother and sister.in.law have already shown anxiety on their faces. The fifth palm, the sister.in.law took 2 steps, but ultimately restrained herself from walking forward. The seventh palm, Zhao Jing rushed forward and cried as she grabbed Zhao Wenmu's hand. However, Zhao Wenmu could no longer feel the outside world at this moment, and he only wanted to pull hard, which had become obsession. Zhao Jingzhen couldn't have caught him. 8th palm, 9th palm. Little brother, stop fighting. I forgive you, I won't leave you. Big brother. Big brother. Seeing that Zhao Wenmu couldn't be stopped, Zhao Jing shouted in a hoarse voice. Zhao Wenlin and Zhao Wenguang rushed forward and grabbed Zhao Wenmu's hands tightly. Zhao Wenmu struggled desperately, and it took Zhao Wenlin and Zhao Wenguang a lot of effort to control him. Then Zhao Wenmu fainted. This scared everyone. Everyone hurriedly lifted Zhao Wenmu onto the ox cart and headed straight to the health center. Who did it? How could it be like this? Zhao Wenmu's whole head was swollen, his face was blue and purple, and there was blood on the corners of his mouth, but it startled the old dean. Carefully check and hang glucose. I estimate there may be some concussion, and the problem should not be significant. We will observe it when the patient wakes up. The conditions of the health center are limited, so that's all we can do. Song Yun and Zhao Jing stayed to take care of Zhao Wenmu, and the others were not in the mood to eat anymore. They decided to go up the mountain to dig wild vegetables. Zhao Wenmu woke up leisurely until after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. After waking up, her throat was a bit hoarse and there was nothing serious. Song Yun said it and went home to cook. Sister-in-law, you can directly deliver food to the elder brothers and their families. I'll go back with my younger brother after we finish getting the injection later. Zhao Jing sent Song Yun out of the health center, and upon returning to the ward, she lay on Zhao Wenmu and began to cry. Zhao Wenmu, are you going to kill yourself? How do you want me to live with the girl? Zhao Wenmu gently patted her back. Sister, I'm sorry. I really didn't gamble anymore, and I won't go again in the future. Do you believe me, okay? He tried his best to squeeze these few words out of his throat, his voice hoarse, and Zhao Jing pressed her head against his chest to hear them clearly. I believe in you. In these few hours, Zhao Jing also slowly calmed down. She understood. Although I don't know why, my little brother did change in the past few days, and the gambling incident happened 5 days ago. Little brother has indeed improved, he didn't deceive himself. Zhao Wenmu desperately begged her not to leave, which was not a lie. Everyone could feel the longing and despair in Zhao Wenmu's heart. If it had been before, my little brother would have said, "Go, go, go as far as you can." In the afternoon, Zhao Wenmu lay on the kong, staring at the little girl with big eyes. His pitiful appearance amused the little girl, who lay there giggling. Although he repeatedly stated that he only had a hoarse voice and no physical problems, Zhao Jing still did not allow him to go out to work. In the evening, a large group of people gathered in Zhao Wenmu's yard to pick wild vegetables. In order to improve efficiency, everyone simply shook off the mud on the mountain without cleaning up any other impurities. After returning home at night, they can light up the lights and pick vegetables. After all, it took up too much time today and I'm a bit busy. Zhao Wenmu was finally allowed to participate. At this moment, his face is still swollen high, blue and purple, and he looks very ferocious. Even one eye can only be half opened, and the other eyelid is really swollen. The voice of the speaker is still very low, and his throat is very hoarse. Second brother, you can only go to the sugar factory and state-owned restaurant tomorrow to deliver groceries yourself. His head is not suitable for going out like this. State-owned hotels now require 100 kilograms of wild vegetables per day, so we cannot delay the needs of major customers. Okay, no problem. Zhao Wenguang is not at all difficult about selling vegetables. Big brother, could you please go find our father, Uncle Song, and Grandpa Chen tonight and ask them to find ways to catch more wild chickens, rabbits, boars, sparrows, and other wild animals, as well as some crucian carp and carp from the river. We will purchase 70 cents per kilogram of mountain goods and 50 cents per kilogram of water. River fresh food is actually a big business, although it is not currently recognized. In the future, hairy crabs and crayfish will surely shine in the catering industry, and he has made up his mind to focus on the river fresh business. So he doesn't plan to teach state-owned restaurants how to make crabs and crayfish. Zhao Wenlin nodded in response. In terms of doing business, he is now obedient to Zhao Wenmu. Zhao Wenlin is also considered an experienced hunter, but compared to the older generation, he is still far behind. Sister-in-law and sister-in-law, in addition to shepherd's purse, bitter cabbage, and gray cabbage, I also need dandelion and mint tomorrow. In addition, I should have some Chinese tune now, and I need to pick some tomorrow. Shanqian Village is surrounded by mountains and water, with unique natural conditions. Peppermint, a plant that prefers shade and humidity, grows a lot by the river. Chinese tune sprouts can be stir-fried with vegetables, scrambled with eggs, and pickled with salt to make pickled vegetables, which can be preserved for a long time. They are a favorite delicacy among villagers. Although there are also many wild Chinese tunes growing in the mountains, searching and picking them is quite troublesome. Most villagers plant a few Chinese tune trees in front and behind their houses, and eat and pick them now, which is very comfortable. Lu Xiumei said somewhat awkwardly. Little brother, we need a lot of wild vegetables now, and we also need wild game. My family alone may not be able to keep us busy. Sister-in-law, tomorrow I will also call Zhao Wenyuan and Qian Erniu. Let them work for 2 days first, and then I will find more people in our village, Sanlizwang, and Shandong Tukun. The wild vegetable business can only last for about 2 months this year, and there will definitely be many people chasing after it next year. Why don't you try to grow as big as possible this year and earn money? When everyone rushes in next year, Zhao Wenmu no longer plans to do wild vegetable business. After all, this business is still too small. The policy environment will undergo significant changes by the end of this year, and there will be more opportunities waiting for oneself. For others, it is an unpredictable future, but for oneself, it is a personally experienced history. With these experiences alone, Zhao Wenmu has already been far ahead of the times. Sister, my second brother and I have bought a lot of white noodles, oil, and cotton cloth. You can share a portion with everyone later, and we can share it with our parents. We can buy from the eldest sister and second sister later. Snow cream and clam oil were secretly given by Zhao Wenmu to his eldest and second brothers, and they were asked to give them to their own wives. My personal wife is in pain, so Zhao Wenmu won't take care of her. He only left for his mother, Zhao Jing, and younger sister. Without waiting for Zhao Wenlin and others to decline, Zhao Wenmu took out the remaining money on his body. Counted, the total is 64 yuan too. I earned a total of 141.6 yuan today, and spent 55.4 yuan on buying tickets and these things. After a pause, Zhao Wenmu continued. I gave son Daqing 22 yuan. There are still 64.2 yuan left, and I still have so much money in my hand. Everyone can share these things with peace of mind. When Zhao Wenmu said this, everyone no longer declined. Little brother, how could there be so much money? Wild vegetables can be sold so much. Song Yun exclaimed in surprise. Zhao Wenguang nodded at her forehead. What do you think? The wild vegetables are only 400 pounds in total, sold for 40 yuan, and there is also 100 yuan for me to teach a few dishes to a state-owned restaurant as a reward. Song Yun pouted in protest. She is also from Shanqian Village and can be considered a childhood sweetheart with Zhao Wenguang. They played together since childhood, and their relationship after marriage was also very good. Can you still teach state-owned restaurants how to cook? Zhao Wenlin couldn't believe it. In his eyes, what was state-owned restaurants? They were the most skilled places in cooking in Pingyang County. And little brother, if it weren't for eating the food he made these past few days, I wouldn't have known he could still cook. When I was wandering around, I came across an old man who taught me how to make wild vegetables. Zhao Wenmu handed over all the money to Zhao Jing while casually spreading rumors. Anyway, he has been fooling around outside every day for the past 2 years, and no one knows what his fate is. Fortunately, everyone is not troubled by this issue. Zhao Jing only accepted 4.2 yuan, and the remaining 60 yuan was returned to Zhao Wenmu. Little brother, you can keep the money. You can use it for collecting game and doing business. I believe in you. End of this chapter.